presses.
And now for something completely different.
There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? And what did we learn? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into.
The Craig L. Hayes Show. Just thinking, where we talk about everything else.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show. Just thinking, where we talk about everything else. I heard that somewhere else before. But seriously, it is the 1st of October. September is gone. And it's the October 1st of 2025, and we are broadcasting or recording this from the Northern Command Center here in Enterprise, Utah. Thank you for joining, listening, and taking a listen to this podcast. Remember, I have two other podcasts that go also. One of them is called It's Showtime, the Craig L. Hayes Show, where we talk about everything showbiz. That's its focus. And then we also have Main Street, the Craig L. Hayes Show. And that's just interviews with everybody who works in a town and would like to tell their story, a little bit about their life on what goes on in the town and how they got to live where they're at and their jobs and stuff like that. So I encourage you to listen to both those other podcasts on YouTube. This weekend, I'm heading back down to Las Vegas for a few days, and I'll be interviewing a good friend of mine for It's Showtime, the Craig L. Hayes Show. His name is Nick Sedano. He is an incredible audio engineer, and he's worked with just about everybody and anybody you can imagine out there doing their sound engineering. That should be an excellent interview. And that'll be, and maybe one more. I'm trying to get one more, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get the other couple people I've been trying to get in. One of them just bailed, but look forward to it. Anyway, we are here for the Craig L. Hayes Show, Just Thinking, and we're going to talk a little bit about some subjects that I think are very important. Last night, did you know the world just stopped last night? Did you know the United States just completely ended last night, according to Chuck Schumer? Last night, Chuck Schumer, just so everybody understands what's going on, the Senate, under the direction of Chuck Schumer, holding back all his Democrat votes, decided that he wanted to have a shutdown in a battle with the Republicans. What he decided to say no to was exactly what he'd said yes to a few months ago. Then last year, before the election, the exact same thing, a continuing resolution, which means we're just spending exactly what was put in place during Biden, during his presidency. But now today, this time, Chuck Schumer says, no, it's horrible. It'll destroy everybody if we go along with it because we're not taking care of all these other needs and all these other things. He says it's bad because people's health care will go by the wayside. You know whose health care is going to go by the wayside? You know who will not be paid for out of your and my tax dollars? Illegal aliens. People who should not be here. The Democrat Party under Chuck Schumer decided to pick a fight in Congress and tell the American people that we want to shut down part of the government because we only care about illegal aliens, murderous Islamists, criminals, and other people, that they should be getting your money and being taken care of at your expense. This is the Democrat Party today. It is so sad to see what's happened to the Democrat Party compared to the days of John F. Kennedy and Harry Truman. I won't go to FDR because FDR was a piece of garbage as far as I was concerned. Destroyed this nation in so many ways. And Woodrow Wilson, terrible people, just terrible, so destructive. But anyhow, let's go back to a couple other things. So Chuck Schumer, this is the Schumer shutdown. So we're about 16, 17, 18 hours, whatever we are, into this horrible shutdown that's just going to cripple everybody. Everyone's going to die. Please simmer down. Everybody understand something very simple. Understand that it's such a lie. Chuck Schumer is just saying such a lie. This whole thing was to protect his Senate seat. He has this radical left-wing group within the Democrat Party named AOC and Talib and all these other like little barking, yapping dogs. You know, they do look a little bit like they're mutts. Anyhow, but they're just barking at him and chomping on him and threatening him if he doesn't fight for all these other things that they want to get put in place on this CR, which means continuing resolution, that they're going to make sure that AOC runs against him and removes him from office. So this whole thing was done not because of necessity, but for politics, to save Chuck Schumer's Senate seat. This whole thing was done, and these people are out in there not working today, and there's some things that we're going to talk about that also, and they're getting a paycheck because of Chuck Schumer trying to protect his Senate seat. That is the truth of it. There is nothing else there. And the desire for all this left-wing radicals, crazy people, known as the AOC, the mob, whatever you want to call them, wanting us to spend another $1 trillion on illegal aliens. I think if we spend more than 1 cent, we have spent too much on illegal aliens. But that's not the point of this conversation. We do understand something very simple, don't you? That every day, Monday through Friday, the federal government back in Washington, D.C. operates Monday through Friday usually. I mean, there's some stuff that keeps on going Saturdays and Sundays, military and things like that. But you do understand that every day at 5 o'clock, basically, in Washington, D.C., and other parts of the country, 5 o'clock in Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock, people who work for the federal government, at 5 p.m., they go home, and the federal government is shut down. That means nobody's working. A shutdown just means nobody's working. So from 5 p.m. until 9 a.m. the next day, if it's Monday, Sunday through Thursday, or whatever, there's nobody working. There is nobody working. And the weekends, let's not forget the weekends, I just said, and nobody works on the weekends. So the federal government has shut down again on the weekends. And then let me see. Holidays. Let's forget about holidays. We shut down the government on holidays. Boy, holidays are really bad. So let's not have tears of despair because the government's getting shut down. It shuts down all the time. We just haven't had this political shutdown in about a year, probably over a year, probably a couple of years. I can't remember when the last time we really shut down the government and it was lasted more than just a day or so. Probably 5-6 years. I do remember it during Obama and what he did to the American people when he didn't get his way and the Democrats didn't get their way and the votes that they wanted. He made sure he shut down all the national parks. He shut down anything that could inflict pain on the American citizen, anything that could inflict pain on veterans, like shutting down the war memorials, putting barriers up so that people that have served in World War II, that were 80 years old, 90 years old, trying to get to see their memorial before they died, they were told, go away, we don't care about you. And the federal government made sure that under Obama that they shoved these guys out and said, nope, you can't come here and look at it. It's your memorial, but since we didn't get our way, we're going to go stand over here, stomp our feet, hold our breath. So that's what the Democrats and under Obama thought of you as the American citizen. Close down state park or national parks States went and tried to states went in and said, hey, we'll take over and we'll just put our state people in there to keep these parks open. And Obama said, nope, you can't do that. Because I don't want people being able to use these things and go enjoy the things that they own, which is this entire nation, because I'm holding my breath, stomping my feet, and I'm not getting what I want. And I'm going to make sure I hurt you until you give me what I want. That was Obama and the Democrats a few years ago. You know what this one is? And here's another part of this. Did you know that it's like 75, 85% of the federal government keeps operating? Yeah, and that's true. It's very true. No matter what on the shutdown, because it's an essential function. Military gets paid, law enforcement gets paid, Medicare gets paid, Medicaid gets paid, Social Security gets paid. Some parts of the welfare system are paid, especially food programs and stuff, because you can't starve at people. So you know what's shut down? Incidental offices, what they called non-essential. And thank heavens we have President Trump and the right people in that office, because they have decided that if you're going to shut this down and force a shutdown, and you're calling these people non-essential, well, I guess we'll just do a reduction in force. If they're not essential, why are we paying them? What are they doing that's non-essential? It's for the federal government, for the American people. And they're talking about just firing them all, laying everybody off, saying we don't need you, and then making Congress come back and say we reauthorize that office and that office and that office and that office, and to bring these people back, and then they can reapply for the jobs they had. That sounds harsh, doesn't it? But you know what? This stuff happens every damn day in the private sector. But for some reason, people have this idea that government workers should be immune from any kind of pain or difficulties within the economy, when in reality they should be the first one to have any kind of suffering as far as economic problems and layoffs. Because the best way to save the economy is to quit spending money, reduce the federal government size, don't borrow any money, and reduce taxes down to almost nothing and get the economy running. But for some reason, we don't do any of that. And government workers are always held in like they're sacred. I'm sorry, I don't want to wish pain on anybody, but at the same time, I don't want somebody to be immune from pain for the actions of their employers, which is the different branches of the government, which makes us actually the employer, but the people who are their supervisors, directors, cabinet, what do you want to call them? So, things have changed, and things are going to keep changing. You have a president in there that's not going to let things continue to be business as usual. You have a Democrat Party that has lost its mind and has decided that no matter what, they want to have a fight with the American people, with the Republicans, and they don't care how much damage they cause as long as they get their way. And their way is higher taxes, more spending, more illegal aliens, more paying for illegal aliens, everything. And then looking at the American public and the citizens of this country with disdain, like, how dare you guys even talk about not doing this stuff? We've decided, and we're your lords and masters, we're going to do it anyway. So that's where we're headed. And I hope starting tomorrow, the reduction in force, the layoff notices start flowing out from the Office of Management and Budget. Because if you're not in your office today, you are not an essential personnel. You are doing nothing that is essential for the American people. You may think you are, you may believe you are, but you're not. You know what my belief is? I look at it this way. If you're still working today and you're not listed within those first Article 1 of the Constitution, that says what the functions of government are, what the functions of the federal government are, then you shouldn't be there either. Federal government says there should be a military, there should be a post office, there should be all these different, a treasury, all these different functions of federal government. Okay, now if we want to take and throw into including a couple things that are for our elderly, I'm in that range too. I'm retired. For the senior citizens, make sure that they have their checks so they can pay their bills and such. I don't have a problem with that. Make sure that they're taken care of medically. Well, I have no problem with that. But anything else? No, I don't see it. Law enforcement? That's not in the Constitution, actually, but we can have a discussion about that. So there's a couple, 3 things we can have a discussion about. But the rest of it, if you're not within the confines of the Constitution, Article 1, that describes exactly what the federal government's allowed to do, we do so much more than we're allowed to do by the Constitution, and no one seems to care about that. But let's trim the fat. And if we're going to shut down 15 to 20, let's call it 15 to 25% of the federal government, but 75% goes on a $4.5 trillion budget or whatever we're spending. Well, if we're cutting 25% out, well, we just went down to saving $1 trillion plus for the rest of the year. I am all for that. I am 100% behind that. So Chucky, oh, he actually acts a little bit like, Chucky, that little insane killer guy. Ooh. But anyways, folks, just know this. This is all going to get worked out in the next probably couple days, maybe a few days, 5 days at the most. But hopefully at that point, we've reduced, 50,000, 100,000 employees out of the federal government. And sorry that you guys are going to have hardships and you're going to have to find other employment within the private sector or some other kind of job. But you know what? I've been laid off or fired. I can't even count how many times in the jobs I've had. And I always seem to make it. You just might be able to too. You just won't be able to have that super safety net called the federal government or any other government to make sure that you never have hardship in your life. Hardship toughens you up, makes you a better person. So that's where we need to head with some of this stuff. And folks, it's not over yet. The fight is only just beginning. Remember, we're only 9 months into this fight. So we still got 3 years and 3 months to take and clean up some of this mess that was caused by Biden and the Democrats and Obama and George Bush. See, I don't just call balls and strikes on because they're Republican or Democrat. George Bush did a lot of damage too. He caused so much spending crap going on during his administration. Talking about a drunk sailor spending crazy and then getting us into conflicts. We should have never done anything more than just bomb the crap out of people and said, you ever come back to do anything to us again, we're going to use nukes on you next time. Anyhow, that's a different subject again. Anyhow, for now, that is basically this episode of the Craig L. Hayes Show, Just Thinking. So maybe we'll get to have another chat later. I've got a couple things to do today, then maybe I'll do another episode. I want to talk a little bit about forgiveness later, and that will be my next one. So until then,
you've been listening to the Craig L. Hayes Show, Just Thinking.